Good morning. Hope everybody is doing awesome today. What an exciting day. We have the launch of BNBP, right? Like this decentralized exchange. Jacob has been a Hexkin from the beginning, the guy who actually started BNBP. He has PulsePot. Not that I'm a fan of gambling, but I'm a fan of owning the casino, right? I'll own the casino where other people can gamble. So I'm excited about that. We have a very funny clip from RH that we're going to cover in a bit. There's a Coin Bureau video. I like the detail that he brings to his videos and the different resources that he puts together to tell a story, which clearly a lot of people do because he's got 2 million followers. So we've got that around the crypto regulations, the impending regulations. Do you guys think that's going to happen soon, or do you think it's going to be, I think it's probably going to happen within the next 12 to 18 months because crypto's just getting so big. And one thing else that's going to get so big, in my opinion, is the green candles for Hedron. I don't know if you guys are paying attention, but we have right around 3.5, 4 weeks left before the auctions start, and people are starting to pay attention. People are starting to buy up. If you look at Dex Screener and if you look at the orders, it's mainly just green. Even if it's smaller ones, it's a lot of green buying of Hedron. I think people are prepping for the auctions. I don't know exactly, but we could see a run up, like a slow, steady. Well, I'm not going to say slow, right? 3 weeks to have a double or a triple is not really slow, but if you look at Legacy. But I think we could have at least a double or a triple before the end of November on Hedron. Super exciting. So we're going to get into some of that. And then V2 slippage. I have been doing some stuff on BNBP. I've been using some stuff on Binance, and the slippage on V2 versus V3. Big difference. There is more slippage on V2 than there is on V3. So I'm going to explain why that actually takes place. Why does it cost more money to do transactions with V2 than it does with V3? And it's because concentrated liquidity. So we're going to get into that. So let's say out of the chat here before we get some DeFi proof. Last night was bumping. We had DeFi proof live concert there for 20 minutes covering his DeFi rap. Wooden, good morning, Mr. Prophet. Stefan, good to see you, bro. 3 days in a row, I think, here. Bullish is in the background. I say hello to Bullish guys. Get a little bicep in the chat for some Bullish. Thoughts on the airdrops for PulseChain, PLSX, sacrificers coming soon, Texican coin, and poor pleb Kira. I don't know what Kira is. We covered the Tex coin. Not really my thing. It wasn't super stimulating to me. But I do think that as time goes on, there's going to be more and more airdrops to those people. And Del Sol, morning. Mel Vitoni, hello. I know you leave the price for Hex often in the chat, so thank you. But one thing I wanted to mention is I'm at the moment in the short term not super bullish on Hex, and I'm not saying this to you. I'm just saying this in general, and seeing your name is what actually got me to think about that. Hex has a lot of sellers. If you look at the liquidity pools, you have Hex W and you have Hex F, right? So I don't know. It's getting the attention is getting dispersed, and there's a lot of people who have been in for a long time, made a lot of money, and they're dumping, right? They're selling off. Let's go, Kobe. Morning, Jay, Christian, Hex Logic. Hello, Hopperman. How are you? Okay, now we got a couple more people. Negative. Bullish is in the house. Hey, guys, wish Bullish to recover quickly. He's going through a little bit of a cold right now. If you guys like to say hi, this is my girlfriend. What's up, baby girl? Par Hexlens, great to see you, Steven. Now, let's play some DeFi proof, and then we're going to get into a awesome show. Boom.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hex and I'm making a stake. Got me some hedge on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. GymRatCrypto sent me to show you the way. Defi Pro, yeah. Crypto in the morning. 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 Crypto in the morning.
So the first thing that I wanted to actually get into is the slippage, right? We have, because this is something that nobody understands. People don't have any idea what the difference between V2 and V3 is. I shared this out on Twitter the other day, but they don't understand why V2 is actually more costly to do transactions. And that's because it's how it's actually structured. So Uniswap V2, most of the swaps out there like Sushi, or that's the only one that comes to mind off the top of my head, PancakeSwap, Pulse X, all those other swaps are forks of V2 Uniswap, right? With their own like pretty interface on them, right? Think of like different computer manufacturers, right? Or think of cell phones, right? So cell phones that are Android have Qualcomm chips in them. A lot of them have, the higher end ones have Qualcomm chips, or the lower end Qualcomm chips in them. So Qualcomm is like the brains of the chip. It's an SoC, system on chip, for different phones, whether it's Samsung, LG, Motorola, etc. They have these chips, the brains behind them all, right? And the user interface, the Samsung, Motorola, LG, is different. That's what it's like when you look at, like, say, PancakeSwap, when you look at SushiSwap, when you look at Pulse X. The brains behind it is V2 for Uniswap. And the way that it was actually designed makes it more costly. You get a higher slippage with V2. And I'm going to show you why in a picture in a moment. But before we do that, take a second, share this video out. There's a little like arrow down below. Press that, share this out on Twitter, tag me, tag GRC, tell him that he didn't wake up this morning, and that is why the show was so great. V2. So you make more providing liquidity on V2. The opposite of that, you make more. We'll talk about that. Let's pull up this chart here. So first of all, take a second, help out, share this on Twitter, tag me, tag Bullish, tag GymRat. Okay. Oh. Yes, yes. Okay. So what do we got here? You guys see this good? Okay. We have V2 and V3. So not only does it cost more money to make a swap on V2, you also make less money over there. And we're going to go through the first part and why it costs more, and then we're going to go through the other part and why you make more as a liquidity provider on V3. V2 is the green line here. So if you look at, if you study, if you understand how this stuff works, an AMM bot is a mathematical formula, right? It's X times Y equals K. That's it. Pretty simple, right? Algebra. Now, when you do this in V2, it takes say if I put up $1,000 of X and $1,000 of Y, it takes that and it's like butter on a piece of bread. And you take that and you spread it out all over the whole entire piece of bread, right? That's what V2 is here. It's spread out all over the place. But how do markets actually work? Markets work by concentrating right around the price. One way, an example you can look at in real life, where do the financial markets concentrate? I got to shut the chat so I quit reading chat at the same time. Where do the financial markets concentrate? Wall Street, Singapore, London, right? Why do they do that? Because they want to concentrate where the most liquidity is. It's common sense. Think of a farmer's market, right? If you've ever heard of a farmer's market, people get together and sell vegetables or meat or XYZ. And they always like to concentrate at the current price. So something like bananas are going to sell at, say, 50 cents a pound. In V2, you're going to have them selling at 1 cent a pound up to $17 per pound. V3 allows that to concentrate all in one place. And that is what the pink line is here. So when you take a look at this and you see that in this place right here where it's pink, you have the most amount of liquidity. So what does that mean? If you're placing a trade, even for $2,000, $1,000, $6,000, $40,000, because there's less participants there on the other side, right? Because in V2, they just squish it all out to the sides. You eat more slippage. So V2, you pay more in slippage because they don't allow for concentration. They don't allow for all that butter to be smushed together so you can just have one giant buttery bite of toast, right? And that costs you more money to use V2. On V3 for liquidity providing, that is exactly what allows you to make more money with V3 than V2. The only time you're going to make money with liquidity providing is when the price is at like that green line, right where in the center here, this is the only spot where you're actually going to make money, right here, where the actual price of the market is. So if you have liquidity that's over here on V2, let me clean this up a little bit. If you have liquidity over here on V2, this is not earning you anything. This is not earning you anything. But in V3, you can take this stuff here on the sides and you can pull all this together to create this. And so you can earn more fees. So quick recap here before we change the subject, because we have a guest. Somebody woke up this morning that we're going to have back on in a second. To wrap this up, V2, you pay more in transactions because of slippage. It's way easier to create a more slippage in V2 than V3. And all of the other dexes are V3. Whatever your favorite dex is, if it's not Uniswap, is V2, right? Which means more slippage. And if you're into LP, I'm into LP. I like making money in LP. I make more money in LP on V3 than on V2. So the special guest is not ready yet. That was the first topic we actually wanted to get into. Let's pull up something a little bit lighter related to Richard Heart here. Got this funny video here, and he actually talks about me here. He actually talks about me. This is from 5 years ago, and Richard Heart talks about me. So let's get into this video.
Somebody asked, do I think white people are smarter? Well, I think you can tell.
Oops. It's going to get loaded here.
People are smart or not. Somebody asked, do I think white people are smarter? Well, I think you can test whether people are smart or not.
There you go.
And I don't think white people test the highest. I think Chinese girls test the highest. So if you want to be a race-oriented person, I'm not sure why you would want to do that, because the least important part of a person is the light they reflect. So, I care about utility. I care about meritocracy. If you were a blob that lived in a jar and smelled funny, as long as you and I could work well together and create something beautiful, I wouldn't mind. Like, this is my blob jar of effectiveness. It's named Sam. Hi, Sam. Like, I don't care, right? Don't
He's
care what
effective.
light you reflect. Or don't. I don't care if you're invisible. You don't have to reflect light at all.
I bet you guys didn't know that
That's why I think white people are
Richard Heart was talking about me. What was that from 5 years ago?
When I heard it, he goes, "Here's my blob of effectiveness named Sam." I was like, "Holy shit."
I had to chime in on this question. So I can put one-sided liquidity with my ETH POW coins on V3? Absolutely, brother.
Good to
That's what
see you. dude.
GRC's hawking. Guys, sorry about being late. Sam, sorry about being late. Thanks all my friends for being awesome and keeping this thing up. But I was up till the depths of the night.
Staying up all night.
I'm a crypto dude.
There's another one here from Crypto Cipher Lock. So it sounds like price pumps way harder and dumps way harder in V2. Would you agree? That's a
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. The verbiage doesn't make sense.
well,
So
get-
the price pumps way harder in V2. What if no one uses it?
well, from a systematic standpoint, I think what he's saying is if you hold everything else constant, right? If everything else is just held
It's about
steady,
volume, guys. Volume. You
But-
need transactions, and you want to find the place where the most transactions are going down, like by a lot. Like you want to go to the places where, like Hedron W ETH pair on ETH POW, a lot, like thousands a day. Like you know what I mean?
you're right, and GRC is right. Like theoretically, you could, if everything else was held constant, you could say that, and I would believe that to be true. What you said about the price movement. However, what GRC is saying over there is accurate. It's all about the fucking people. Like, where are the people going? Are people going through and buying? That is way more important than the structure of the DEX. Because that is dynamic, that's perpetually changing. So you got to understand the piece of like where people are, where are people buying, where are the transactions.
Where people are,
happening.
you just said it. Where people are, Sam. I look at this stuff all day long. That puts me probably 5 years ahead of someone who's working all day, literally. So I like to pick up on the things that are a little more technical, a little bit more efficient, and then a couple of years later, a couple of months later, everyone's doing it. It's not their fault. It's not me being smart. It's just like I just look at this shit all day. So I can kind of tell, like, V3 is so much more efficient. It makes me sick to my stomach. Literally, I've used both like 20 times in the last month. I'll give you a scenario, Sam. I'll give you a scenario, crypto scenario, and this is why it's so much awesome. So yesterday, for example, I have an ass load of liquidity in both Hex and HexF, Hex W. But Sam, yesterday I wanted to make a little move. And I was like, man, I don't want to put any more money in this crap. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to put more of my own US dollar in at this moment because I was kind of bored, lazy. And what did I do? I pressed 25% of liquidity out. Boom. One button in my account. Done.
Versus V2, even just from a user standpoint, so not only is V2 more slippage and you make less money as an LP provider, it is more cumbersome. It is easier to use V3. In V2, you provide LP, you get a liquidity token, right? You take that and you can stake that in terms of farming. That's a multi-step process, different screens to go to. You don't know the dollar amount. V3, it's all in one spot. Way easier, one step. You can do what GRC just mentioned instead of having multiple steps to do things. So V3 is just so
But it matters
better.
why, Sam, because when there's a giant dip on a coin that you like and you want to switch something over, you don't want it to take 25 minutes.
It's true.
You want it to take 30 seconds so you can finish because you see people do 100% candles and then someone will sell right on top of it. And it's like, man, if I had my stuff open, and I would have liked to buy at that point.
Yo, I had a trade. Somebody sent me some BTC, right? Somebody sent me some Bitcoin. They sent it on October 10th. I don't know if there's an exact time here. I didn't get the payment until October 13th. October 10th, payment was sent on Bitcoin. October 13th, 3 days later, I received the payment. Who the fuck wants to? What is it? What is this? A bank? I don't want to wait for my money. If you're sending me money, I want that shit right now. I don't want to wait 3 days to go through. Although I do like Bitcoin from a security standpoint. But
And I'll tell you what I like about V2. It's very little. It's very little. But I like about
you could do
V2
transactions.
if there is a nuanced new coin, you can do it. You can add liquidity to it without V3 is not going to come up first. In a perfect world, all this thing would pop up right away. V3.
I don't even use V2.
But the truth is, like for Zen, ETH POW, which I bought 1 trillion of. 1 trillion. I bought 1 trillion fucking ETH POW. Zen POW.
Yeah, I was about to say 1 trillion ETH POW, dude. Like, where the hell you get all this
No,
goddamn
1
money
trillion
from?
Zen POW, which was like $200 or something. You know what I mean? So, and then I was like, I want to provide liquidity with this because I feel that this is going to move sideways and then up over time, over a long period of time.
I agree.
So I said, I'll just keep this parked here and move on. And now I have a 6 ETHW in there from 2 days ago
Yes.
for rewards.
V3 is like, this is why I want Pulse X to have V3 because it's just so much. I'm going to use V3 on PulseChain if it launches, right? I'm going to use V3 because it's so much better. I can get higher returns than people who don't understand LP and they're like, I want to provide it on Pulse X. Cool. You go there and provide it. I can get higher returns with less money on V3 because that's just how concentrated liquidity works.
Well, guess what, Sam? We're gonna have V3 on day one.
Yes!
How you know that? How you know that?
Pulse, whether
front end.
PulseX has it or not, there will be a front end day one.
We'll make a front end if there's not a front end.
Seems like I'll be good enough to fucking make a front end by the
Nah,
time
it's already there. Like it's already there. People can put 2 and 2 together and connect the dots. Like the front end is already there. You can test it out right now.
Oh, Bullish, I had to say something to you and Sam. We need everyone to know about the Hedron.Uniswap front end.
Yes. We had this conversation yesterday. Okay.
So explain, Sam. First, I'm going to drop it in. Okay, so I'll explain a little bit, and then I want to let Sam go and Bullish go. So I've been using V3 liquidity on ETHFair and ETH POW the entire time since the second it opened, but I didn't realize that some people weren't because I just forgot. Like I just wasn't thinking about it. I want to know if you guys know about, first of all, one's in the chat if this is all makes perfect sense to you. 2's in the chat if none of this really makes any sense to you, you're still learning. So 1's in the chat if you know exactly what's going on, pretty much. And 2's in the chat if you're still like total learning noob mode. I want people to understand that there is V3 Uniswap on ETHFair, ETH POW. And I want them to understand by the end of the show. So we're going to talk about that right now.
We, Bullish, GRC, and myself all are aware there's actually multiple front ends for V3 on Fair, and there's one front end that I'm aware of for V3 on POW. A lot of people are not aware and this is evident in the transactional volume. This is why I brought up V2. You pay more in terms of slippage. It costs more money to trade on V2 than it does V3. So if you look,
everything's worse.
Everything's worse.
It's like literally the worst version of V3. If people could learn like what a V2, V3,
that's
V4,
why it's V2.
Improvements. So when they say V6, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. It's probably better.
Yes. So let's Bullish, do you have any thoughts on the Uniswap V3 for POW and Fair?
Yeah, so like that's pretty much what I've been using. Like I tried, like I think I mentioned it yesterday. I'm not really messing around with all these dexes that are popping up and stuff like that with V2 and farming and all that other stuff. Like Alex is the man and created a front end for POW, like off rip, and eFair, they had a front end for Uniswap on launch day. So like we've literally had V3 since day one on both chains.
Can you chime in on ETHFair, Bullish? I know you're not a professional.
No, but I know the facts. I'll be willing to debate
people because I've been realizing these things slow over time in my own research that you have been mentioning, but I haven't been saying too much of it just because I'm still kind of learning. But I want you to talk about ETH. I see that transaction volume creeping up. I see a more mature audience over on ETH, and I see less S coins getting put in and dumped of $700,000 liquidity into. What do you see?
So let me preface it by there's been a lot of comments, with streamers and stuff like that about, ETHW was the same ETH you were using a week ago. Incorrect. ETH is technically the ETH, the ETH you were using, when the merge and the fork happened. And the reason I say that is because, just for disclaimer, I have balanced bags on both. I can really care which one pumps or dumps. You know what I mean? I'm good on both sides. So like I covered myself on that. So that's the disclaimer. But the facts are that the block height is the same exact block height as the merge on ETH, where ETHW is a couple hours off. So it's not accurate. So if you want to say which one is the same ETH that you were using prior, it's ETH, just with the block height portion. That's it. And then number two, ETHW decided to take out EIP 1559, where ETH decided to keep it. So the most accurate one, is ETH. And on top of that, this is the last point why I'm paying a lot of attention and I'm not losing hope on it. If you just look at software updates, the only one who has pushed multiple updates since launch has been ETH.
And I just want to see that the transaction volume that GRC is mentioning, to caveat that, is in like Hex and Hedron that's pumping an F. But overall transaction value on the chain per chain, one is about 10x or like so different.
Dude, I'm kind of just only looking at Uniswap. Like only.
So okay,
I don't even look at the other shit because it's very confusing, frankly.
Let's share those out. So if you guys know,
I dropped the Ether Fair one, guys, and let me drop the then there's one more, but I'm not gonna drop it because I haven't been using it. I don't remember it. There's another one there's one that's not hedron.uniswap.pro that other people
I just shared one here. This is
that's one I use.
This is for POW. This is the one that I use for POW. And then this one here is for Fair, but I actually use a different one. I use the other version, which is uniswap.etherfair.org, so I can share that one. Both of them work.
So that I don't think the Uniswap link works anymore.
It does. I used it yesterday.
I've been using the crap out of it.
I've been using the Dex one, and that's the one we've been pretty much promoting.
Yeah. But I would like to keep it to one and tell people they're one, so I can figure this shit out. And I'd also like to have the Ethereum Fair guy. I messaged Jack Levin, who knows the Ethereum POW guys. He said he met them once when he was doing something. I sent him both front ends, and I said I need them to know that these are Uniswap V3 front ends, and I need everyone on ETH POW to know about them. And he said, I'll talk to them if I have time about this, like if I run into them. So I'm trying to get some people to realize that Uniswap is legit.
And it's the better way of transacting. It's the better way of earning money. You can do limit orders. It's just easier user interface on there, period. But speaking of
and real quick, I'll just add to that. And if you want to test out V3 on PulseChain, just use uniswap.hedron.pro.
Oh yes, good, yes. Well, wouldn't that be kind of funny if the front end that Alex put together ends up pulling more? I'm assuming that Richard Heart's going to get V3 or try to do, because I think he's a smart man.
Richard only has two options: either launch Pulse X without V3 or wait till the license is up and then launch,
or try to create his own version of that.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be worth it because like Uniswap is like audited and all that other stuff. It's just better, just waiting for the license to be available.
True.
But yeah, like Richard really only has two options: either launch Pulse X with V2 or wait and then launch PulseChain once V3 license is available. But my kind of argument to that is we don't have to wait for that unless Richard wants to, because we already have a front end that works. You can go and test it, and you'll see, basically everything we've been talking about, how amazing V3 is and why we want it on Pulse X.
What if Alex's front end for V3 actually, how Richard Heart talks about creating the most liquidity in Pulse X by his vampire attack on all the other dexes at the fork time, like in that 26 hours before the fork. But what if, and he's also mentioned this too, that he cannot vampire attack Uniswap V3. He said he can do it for the other ones, but he can't do it for V3. So what happens at launch if Alex's front end has more liquidity and then people end up just piling over to V3 because we're educating people. They understand V3 is so much better than V2. That would be a very interesting.
Oh, shit.
Oh, you didn't know this?
No, I knew it. I just forgot that it was today.
Yeah, in a few hours, like I think at this point, like 12 hours or something like that is going to be
12
launching
hours from now. Can someone give me an hour countdown on that?
No, I'll tell you right now. It's right. Just go to Zen.network. It's there. Let's see. Zen.network. It's going to be launching on Moonbeam. Oh, shit. In 2 hours and 47 minutes, it's going to be launching on Moonbeam. And then on ETHMOS, it's going to be launching on 3 hours and 17 minutes. The one I'm bullish about is ETHMOS. Because you guys know, like, I've been playing around over there. I'm, like, super bullish on their IBC, Internet Blockchain protocol. So, yeah, I'm like super bullish on that whole tech and cross-chain communications without bridges. So, yeah, so I'm bullish about it, getting on ETHMOS and then eventually, getting into the whole, ETHMOS Cosmo ecosystem. And then like from there, it's like easy to pretty much deploy it onto like a dozen different other chains in that ecosystem. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
I think I've cracked it. I think I've cracked the math code for buying on the market for Zen.
Power Excellence. Richard.
Oh, yeah, that's the question. Let me pull it up.
Yeah. So Power Excellence, I'm pretty sure AMM FixerBot, which is what Richard Heart's going to be deploying, is going to drain V3 pools on PulseChain. That's incorrect. It is, and that's incorrect. He said it twice in two different streams. Unless
he said it's not going to pull V3.
Yes.
So this is even if he doesn't pull V3. Okay, you're right. Actually, yeah, but even if he doesn't pull V3, what we just saw with the forks, we're going to have that opportunity as far as ratio trading on V3.
What do you mean?
Because it's a system state copy.
Oh, yeah. That's what that's why I'm like,
so while V2 is for the liquidity, V3 is going to be for the, the pro, ratio traders who know how to use it. And for anyone who just dealt with the forks, you're going to be able to, make some good plays on the V3 side with a front end. In those first 3 days, in my opinion.
Just remember, that there's lots of guys with lots of money that are paying attention to this, and they can make the floor of that price whatever the fuck they want. And if they have a hunch that it's going to stay at a price, they'll keep it there to start.
And they're all aware of the front end. All the big guys are all aware of the front end.
So where do you, if all the big guys are aware of the front end for V3, what front end do you think they're going to use?
Oh, they're all aware of the one I'm talking about.
Right. Okay. So they're going to use. But
unless they go and set up their own front end, because that's the beauty about it. Like what I just learned with the forks, because the Uniswap front end is available on their GitHub. You can literally clone it, change a few lines of code, and do your own front end, whether it's public or local, and communicate that way. So like me, for example, I can go just do my own front end and interact that way, and not tell anyone.
Yep. And V3, the front end. If there is more liquidity, if there's more activity on Pulse X, I could see people doing transactions over there, but then also providing liquidity on Uniswap, the other front end, because that's going to continue to suck liquidity out of other places just because it's so much better. Like that's how I see that playing out potentially. I'm curious to see what happens. Maybe they found a solution. Maybe they did find a solution.
And I wouldn't be surprised. And if no one thought about this yet, I'm pretty much putting it out there and go ahead and someone build it. Some sort of DEX aggregators, similar to what we saw with KyberSwap.
Yes.
Where it'll be able to pull from PulseX and Uniswap.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I'm excited. There's a couple questions here. I want to get through these. Antel Del Sol. Hello. If there is no license for V3 on PulseChain during the launch, we can still play with it regardless. That is accurate. Correct. So, Bullish, you explained this to me the other day, and I was telling GRC about this last night. And then it looks like Ante Del Sol is also asking about this. Can you go through and explain why you cannot fork, but you can create a new front end and the details around that? Because I think a lot of people don't understand that.
Right, because at the end of the day, like true DeFi, especially with like system state forks and stuff like that, will allow you to change a few lines of code and point it to a different network. So in the case of like ETHW and ETHFair, it's the same exact front end. It was just pointing to a different network. Everything else should work intact because it's a system state fork. So that's why those things are able to function. So and Richard Heart has said this many times on his streams. Everything from ETH is going to be copied over. It's just a matter of those organizations creating a front end or someone else creating a front end. And in the case of the forks, Alex went and did a front end for Uniswap. Dipcatcher created a front end for Maxi and perpetuals and stuff like that. So it's just a matter of these front ends being built and just pointing to the proper network.
Yes, thank you. But you can't go through and create your own version of V3, which is a little bit different.
Correct.
So
because the actual smart contract itself and the front end are independent. They just communicate with each other.
And it's already sitting on there, right? How many times?
Right. The contracts are already sitting on there. It's just a matter of someone setting up a front end to communicate with
it. Yeah.
Excuse me. Similar to Liquidity. Liquidity, if you ever go to the Liquidity site, it pretty much asks you which of these 5 front ends do you want to interact with our contract with. So,
Too bad that wasn't copied over, and it didn't have issues because of oracles and stuff on F and W.
Well, technically, it is copied over. It's just that
but it just has issues. Yeah,
worthless.
Correct. Which would be dope if it did. If it
was
like valuable though.
I would have been there crushing it with los pollos.
Do you want to get into this video on regulation from?
Yes.
Cool. So,
dude, this dude talked about ETH POW. I watched a video about
last week.
Whoops.
He did it. It was like a day ago. He did like a straight up ETH POW video. I was kind of curious on that. This dude's kind of popular.
He is. There's a lot of. I enjoy the way that he brings together his resources to tell a story.
How long we got on this? 20. Let's if the intro is real boring, just boot it and then get to it because he's probably gonna chill. But let's go. I'm ready.
And I'm gonna share this in the chat too because I hired somebody in Bangladesh and I have a call with them at noon, so I have to get off at like 49, so I can just jump straight into that.
And
call.
We'll continue now. We got to talk about Pulse Spot and a few other things.
Yeah, I got a couple of things.
I put bullish. So at 49, I'm going to jump off, but I put it in the chat. So before 49, we can switch it to your computer or whatever. But
if you want, I can just run it on mine right now.
Okay, go ahead, and we're going to pull this up. Sorry about the stuff that we're doing, guys. Question. Well, Bullish is pulling this up. I'm asking for a friend. What will pump harder, PLS or PLSX? Short.
Try to ratio yourself to even on both sides if you're totally lopsided on one. I would try that. PulseChain has a better chance of staying relevant long term. As far as there can be other dexes, there can be other things, but there can't be other layer one for that specific purpose. And like we said, we were already discussing Uniswap V3 front ends, which I'll probably be using right off the jump if there's not that option, depending on when it comes out. So I would say if you have only Pulse X, if you have 50-50, I'd just chill on it. But if you're 90-10 or 100-0 on one end, I would think about ratio trading just to be safe. Just to be safe as far as having your wealth spread out to a good degree at a similar valuation at the time. Because no one knows what's going to happen in the future. If you have $1 billion, you'll be happy. If you have $500 million and $250 million on one pool, you'll be happy too.
If PulseX can get V3, PulseX in the mid to short term might perform better, because if you can get V3 and you get all this liquidity and a shitload of trading volume, and 25% of that is just going to burning PLSX, that's the other reason I'm not super bullish on Hex at launch of PLSX, because we got to see a preview of that with W and F, right? It disperses the energy, right? I don't feel as bullish on Hex as I did prior to the forks, because it disperses the energy of it. It slows things down, because then people can go to the other side. They can still earn boatloads of yield on F or on W. So I think the same thing's going to happen.
It's hard for these things to die. Like ETH Fair and ETH POW. The one reason I've been buying a little bit of those things for Hex is it's hard for something to die when no one has any of it, but everyone kind of likes it. And when you sell all of it that you have, you don't really make that much. So it's kind of like we're trying to play the floor on a couple of things. Like if these things were matured by a year and a half, I probably wouldn't be buying them, frankly. At this moment, I would be just chilling. But the truth is, You can, if you buy 200 million hex and you stake it for a week, just for an example off the top of your head, like, you know what that's like. You've seen that on the whale bot chart, guys. When people do those 20, what do they get? They get like 2,600 T-shares for 20 days. And then what do you get? A couple 100,000 hex for doing Jack S.
That you can dump.
And you can keep your principal just like hex. That's literally what you're supposed to do in hex. You're supposed to stake your shit, sell your principal, stake it again.
It's happening on 2 other chains.
Yeah, and it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. You can trust me that it only grows if the chains stay alive. So
that's exactly what I've been doing. I have, before we play this, I have rolling 10-day stakes. I'm taking the yield, and I'm basically swapping it for ETH/W or ETH.
Nice. And just leaving it in ETH or ETH/W?
Yeah, and I'm just accumulating, like, because I have like, I'm comfortable with the position I have in hex on both chains. So now I'm using the power of staking to accumulate a shitload of hex and then swap it, so I can accumulate more of the gas coin. So, and that's basically my play until, the shit ever decides to pump.
Fuck yeah. I should start doing that on a regular, as part of my play.
Oh, and I'm doing the same thing with Hedron as well. So, like, I'm staking
just
that.
Remember,
and,
Sam, it's up to us. It's up to us to keep these things moving. Like, no, not us, like us three only, but it's up to guys like us that are new, that have money, that have leadership, that have accessible income to a degree, to figure out what the future of crypto kind of looks like. It's not the people that staked 5 for their whole life and they have 3 kids and they ain't making jack shit. They're not changing shit. They ain't changing jack shit because they're not in that position, because they are a little over leveraged, but that's okay. What the best part about crypto is you can remain flexible if you keep your overhead low and you keep your money in your pocket. You don't want your coin count to go down on the coins that you like. You want it to go up. That's how you make money. And you wait. So let's get into it. Sorry for the interruption.
You're good.
Last week, the Financial Stability Board, or FSB, finally published its recommendations for global crypto regulations. This is significant because the FSB is a part of the Bank for International Settlements, or BIS. The BIS is the bank for central banks around the world. This means that the FSB's recommendations are more like instructions for the BIS and FSB's member countries, which is basically all countries. That's why today I'm going to summarize what the FSB's recommendations say and what effects they could have on the crypto market if they become law. The document I'll be summarizing today is titled, quote, International Regulation of Crypto Asset Activities, a proposed framework for consultation. It was published by the FSB last week, and I'll leave a link to the full document in the description if you're interested. Now, the framework begins with a small blurb about the FSB, wherein the authors admit that the organization works closely with other national and international organizations to set regulations. However, the authors are careful to note that nothing in this document is legally binding. Funny. Next, the authors note that all comments about their regulatory recommendations regarding cryptocurrency should be submitted by the 15th of December. This suggests that these recommendations will likely not become regulations until sometime next year in most countries, if at all. Interestingly, the authors provide a list of questions that the comments should address. These include questions about crypto markets, and questions about stablecoins. Note that they're looking for responses from institutions and rich folks, not people like you and me. After the list of questions, the authors provide a brief overview of cryptocurrency from the perspective of the FSB. Not surprisingly, they note that cryptocurrency is extremely volatile and point to Terra's collapse as proof, though they don't mention the crypto project by name. They acknowledge that this volatility isn't a big deal today, since crypto is not all that connected to the financial system, but warn that, quote, the situation could change rapidly as crypto asset markets recover. In other words, the crypto markets are down, so now is our chance to roll out regulations. They then assert that crypto regulations must be global because otherwise there will be regulatory arbitrage between jurisdictions. This, in turn, will allow crypto to continue its innovative growth, which would cause financial stability risks to increase. What the authors don't mention is that the financial stability risk that they're concerned about in this case is that, say, a novel algorithmic stablecoin will be invented that displaces the fiat currencies that the FSB and others are trying to protect.
Yes.
The authors then claim that crypto should be regulated using the same risk, same regulation principle. Now, if you watched our video about the World Economic Forum's crypto report, you'll know that this is a phrase that seems to have come directly from the WEF, and it has since been repeated by many other organizations. In this case, it's not surprising because the FSB is headed by Klaas Knot, the president of the Dutch central bank. For context, the Netherlands has been at the center of the WEF's Great Reset. The government actually published its past correspondence with the WEF last year, revealing its leading role. Now, if you thought that was spooky, consider the following statement. Quote, high regulatory standards are required in particular for crypto assets, such as stablecoins, that could be widely used as a means of payment and/or store of value, as they could pose significant risks to financial stability. Now, most of you will know by now that international financial organizations such as the FSB are not fans of stablecoins. This is because stablecoins are direct competition to the upcoming central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, being rolled out around the world, at least in theory. The spooky part is the FSB also singles out any cryptocurrency that could be a store of value as being an area of concern. This is worrying because Bitcoin's BTC is arguably a store of value. Yes, BTC is very volatile in the short to medium term, but its ability to preserve purchasing power long term has been proven. Luckily, it's unlikely that the FSB doesn't see it that way, but it still begs the question of what could happen when most people start believing that BTC is a store of value, not just seasoned crypto holders. It sounds like the FSB and its cronies would move quickly to crush it, as BTC would be a risk to them. If that wasn't bad enough, the authors call for, quote, AML/CFT defenses across the crypto asset ecosystem. This ties into another problematic outcome of crypto regulation, and that's the requirement to enforce KYC at the protocol level, i.e. at the level of the blockchain itself. No.
I gotta run. Appreciate you guys. I got that call in 1 minute.
You're good, bro.
Peace
Have
out.
a good one.
Yeah,
I'll see
take
you
care.
soon. Hey, are you going to be on tonight?
Yes.
All right, I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Later, guys. We'll
do it
talk. We'll
after that.
talk.
Yeah.
Peace. Peace out, guys.
Continue it.
Yes, sir.
KYC, no crypto wallet for thee. This brings us to the first part of the framework, and that's the issues and challenges associated with rolling out crypto regulations. The authors start by claiming that crypto is mostly unregulated, which is highly debatable depending on the country you're talking about. The authors go on to explain that before there can be any crypto regulations, there need to be crypto classifications. For example, what counts as a stablecoin, what counts as a utility token, and so on. Naturally, the authors take issue with the different crypto classifications between countries. The authors also take issue with the relative lack of data about the crypto market. It's still not entirely clear exactly how many cryptocurrencies there are, how many trading pairs exist for those cryptocurrencies, nor how much they're being traded on both centralized and decentralized exchanges. The authors seem to blame this on crypto exchanges failing to comply with crypto regulations, as well as the fact that much of the crypto ecosystem exists, quote, outside the regulatory perimeter. That's code for decentralized projects and protocols that exist almost entirely on-chain. This is strange given that on-chain activities are incredibly easy to track. It just goes to show you that folks like the FSB aren't fans of anything they can't control using centralized force, even if they can still see all the information about it. In the next section, the authors simultaneously scrutinize stablecoins as being a threat to financial stability, along with DeFi protocols. They don't specify that DeFi is what they take issue with, but their wording confirms it. Being able to conduct finance without a bank is the greatest sin of all. That aside, the authors suggest that the ideal way to deal with stablecoin issuers and other centralized crypto projects is to essentially break up their operations into different entities. This is because the FSB sees stablecoin issuers, exchanges, and others as playing multiple roles that require multiple regulators. Rather than have multiple regulators fight over which one of these entities it's allowed to target, the FSB literally suggests breaking these crypto companies apart so that their different elements can be regulated separately. Pretty crazy stuff. Now, the second part of the framework concerns existing initiatives around crypto regulations both nationally and internationally. The authors start by saying that the FSB is happy with the progress being made on crypto regulations, but it's just not good enough. They highlight stablecoins as being a point of focus and reveal that the crackdown on stablecoins is due to concerns around financial stability. This makes sense when you realize that most stablecoins are pegged to the US dollar and backed by US government debt. That's a clear threat to non-USD countries. That's why USDC issuer Circle is in the process of creating a stablecoin for every major fiat currency. It's why Circle is slowly becoming the most powerful company in cryptocurrency and could eventually become the most powerful company on the planet. More about that in the description. Anyways, the authors then list a bunch of other regulatory recommendations that were recently released by other international organizations. These include the BIS, which you'll recall is behind the FSB, as well as the infamous Financial Action Task Force, or FATF, which wants KYC applied to all of crypto. Now, the third part of the framework details the FSB's approach to implementing crypto regulations around the world. The authors begin by repeating the same risk, same regulation principle that I talked about earlier. They say that all crypto regulations should be crafted with this idea in mind. Now, this is a bigger problem than you think because it ultimately means that cryptocurrency should be subject to the same.
One's in the chat if you want to continue seeing this. Two in the chat if you don't.
And if you have questions, let me know. If you have questions, we'll let it run for another 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll see what people say.
Regulations as the existing financial system. The practical effect of this is that it will effectively force cryptocurrency to become a part of the existing financial system. This is why the WEF and others have been repeating the same risk, same regulation phrase so frequently in the context of cryptocurrency. They want to take control of the powerful technologies that underlie cryptocurrencies to turn their anti-human ideologies into a reality. This is also why the crypto industry has been fighting so hard to convince lawmakers around the world that new crypto-specific regulations are required. That's because activities in crypto do not carry the exact same risks as equivalent activities in the existing financial system. The premise itself is false. Now, this is of no concern to the authors, who insist that any crypto intermediary which performs a function similar to that of an entity in the traditional financial system must be regulated in the same way. It's not entirely clear whether the authors believe these regulations should also apply to DeFi. What is clear, though, is that the FSB is obsessed about regulating stablecoins. They specify that stablecoin issuers should be subject to the oversight of central banks as well as any payment-related regulators. Any bank-like features such as earning interest on stablecoins should also be regulated. Again, it's not clear if this applies to DeFi, but given that DeFi is where most of these yields come from, it's possible that we could see regulations applied to DeFi via stablecoin issuers. For example, stablecoin issuers could be mandated to prevent holders of their stablecoins from lending in DeFi protocols. The authors then propose two things. their recommendations for crypto regulations, which I just discussed, and revisions to their recommendations regarding stablecoins. They mention a few of these revisions here, but there's only really one that needs discussing. Quote, "The revised recommendations clarified that reliance on algorithms and arbitrage activities are not effective stabilization mechanisms. Indeed, as the report describes, many existing stablecoins, including Terra/Luna, would not meet the FSB's high-level recommendations." This needs to be discussed because what the FSB is saying here is that decentralized stablecoins should be banned under its new stablecoin recommendations. This is a really big deal because it's believed a robust algorithmic stablecoin will eventually emerge and serve as a decentralized medium of exchange. The one algorithmic stablecoin I personally found quite interesting was Ampleforth's Ample. It automatically adjusts its supply based on demand. Now, the only problems with Ample are that it's pegged to the price of the US dollar in 2019, it only rebases once every day, and its presence on exchanges causes its peg to deviate. If there was a way to make a token like Ample that's not pegged to a fiat currency, rebases instantly, and exists entirely on-chain, then we could actually replace fiat currencies with it. Meanwhile, Bitcoin's BTC would continue to serve as a truly decentralized store of value. Well, a man can dream. Anywho, what's hilarious is that the authors note, quote, "All crypto asset activities that pose or potentially pose risks to financial stability should become subject to comprehensive and globally coordinated regulation, supervision, and oversight." This is hilarious because it really includes every single cryptocurrency that exists or possibly could exist, especially those that threaten the financial status quo. I'll quickly note that the specifics of the FSB's recommendations for crypto and stablecoin regulations can be found in two other documents. Those will be in the description too. Speaking of those two documents, the authors provide a table which includes a list of recommendations it has made for regulating cryptocurrencies and stablecoins. What's annoying is they don't list the recommendations here. To find them, we must go digging through those two other docs. The FSB's recommendations for crypto regulations can be found in a document titled, quote, "Regulation, Supervision and Oversight of Crypto Asset Activities and Markets," which again is in the description. This document contains 9 crypto regulation recommendations. The first is that regulators should be given the power by their governments to enforce regulations against entities in the crypto industry. They should require all crypto entities to comply with their regulations before operating in their jurisdiction and apply punishments when regulations are violated. The second is that all crypto regulations should follow the same risk, same regulation principle that you're all familiar with by now. This recommendation includes monitoring the crypto industry for emerging risks and regulating those accordingly. This recommendation...
Hey, real quick, Bullish, can you pause it? Okay, guys. Jack is doing a stream right now, and I kind of want to watch it, and it's a little bit probably more news for right now. Do you want to switch to that, Bullish? I sent you the link on your phone, and you're muted.
Is he on Twitter?
I think he's on YouTube.
Hold on a second.
He just sent me. He said I talked about some stuff. You probably want to hear it, and we got the Evmos drop.
Let's see.
I sent the link. Let me make sure.
No, I'm checking. If he's live, I'll see it here. Oh, the one 21 minutes ago?
Yeah. How long is that?
It is. Huh? Hold on.
It's 46 minutes long.
Oh, I see it here. Yeah, 46 minutes.
You might. We could talk. Let's play it for 10 minutes.
You can do it on. It already happened, so it's not like it's happening live. So you can do it on your show.
Okay, I'll do it on my show.
So we can finalize and wrap up.
Let's just finalize and wrap up right now, Bullish, and then I'll come back on at 1 and just.
You want to finish this video or just like this?
I
dropped the link if anyone wants to like continue watching it.
Guys, we know regulations coming up. I wouldn't be scared necessarily. Just know that they're not going to be worried about your money. So get your money right. Get your money right. Make sure you're doing things properly. If you're tax loaded in and you know you're going to have to pay 100 grand in taxes, figure that shit out. Okay, don't be playing the fiddler with your stuff because they will play the fiddler with you if you're not really focused on it. And if you're new, just keep focusing, keep learning, keep getting involved in the low valuation assets that come out that you think are good for very low US dollar, and then let time do the time thing for you. All right, so we're gonna wrap up. We have BNBP stream tonight.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. But before we talk about it, there's been in the past 24 hours, there's been I addressed it a little bit last night on the Worst Damn Crypto Show, if anyone was tuned in, and I was in Twitter Spaces for a while talking about it as well. So I'm just gonna call it how it is without calling people out because I'm the one who's always.
So what's going on?
I'll get to it, but I just want to give people context because I'm gonna be limited in what I say, but I'm gonna be as transparent as possible. So I'm not gonna call anybody out specifically, even though I have receipts and screenshots and everything, because I'm the one always criticizing the infighting and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna be, part of the problem as well and start calling people out and create big infighting and then give you ammo to start like going off on people. So with that said, there was a private group formed that is essentially doing an organized effort to shut down the streams and report the streams to YouTube, et cetera, as far as the BNB stuff. Yep.
Who?
Again, I'm not gonna mention these names. I don't want
to. Are they people I know?
Yeah, there's like people who are constantly in our chats. People in the community.
People are so stupid, evil, and depressed. I hate it.
Yeah, I hate it too. But like the problem with that is like, yeah, we can continue the way we originally planned. But then, the entire time we're streaming behind, in the back of my head, I'm constantly going to be thinking, are they going to be reporting it now? Are they going to be reporting it in 5 minutes and 10 minutes and then potentially get your channel shut down and other channels shut down?
This is what happens when you try to give away money to people. Like, we're trying to give away a good amount of money tonight and make it fun. And we've been thinking about this for weeks. And, people don't like that, right?
Yeah.
They want me, if I give away free money or if Billish does or Jacob does or whoever, they don't want it to get cool. They're threatened by it. They're threatened by anything that we do that has real, I guess product. I don't know what it is. They're just pissed we got in early and now we're talking about it probably. But we've been talking about it for months.
Right. So, there's a lot of people going to be covering this stuff. It's just unfortunate that like they're targeting you. And there's some people also who, and again, like it's a group of two people who are like, at this point, giving everything I have, I would say is like part jealousy and part hate, like part jealousy on BNBP, and then, part hate on you. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah, people fucking hate my shit because I really don't care about the money that much. Like I do, but like, you know what I mean? Like I have so many things I want to do that I've never done.
Yeah. So given that like I literally for like at this point weeks been organizing like over a dozen streamers to come on, and put their channels up so we can do like this mega multicast stream. I don't want to put them in a position or where they end up losing their channels, because if anyone's not aware, like DeFi gambling is a gray area. I'm not too concerned about playing games and stuff like that, etc. But gambling is not allowed on YouTube unless it's pre-approved.
Right. And people know that, and then
they know that, and they're essentially using that to their advantage to, basically report the channels, etc., and potentially get it shut down.
And these are probably full-blown hexicans.
No, I'm telling you, they're full-blown hexicans and pulsicans, and so like it's coming within our community. It's like,
guys, for 600 days straight, I talked about Hex. It went down the whole entire time, and I had a smile on my face, and I told everyone why it was amazing, and I still believe those things. And then I get hated on every single day.
And again, I'm not mentioning these names because I'm the one who's always criticizing the infighting, and I don't want to add to it. I don't want to be part of the problem and be a hypocrite for the same shit that I always criticize.
Dude, I don't even look at my Twitter anymore.
So, but at the same time, I'm not gonna let these fucking people stop me. So, the plan I have now is we were initially planning on doing a panel regardless before the stream started. I mean, the games went live. So I think plan B now is, given all the information I have and just to try to keep everyone safe, is an hour before the games goes live, we'll still do the panel multi-stream on YouTube. At 8 o'clock when the games go live, we're going to be moving over to Odyssey and playing the games over there, because we cannot get shut down over there. It's completely decentralized streaming platform, and we'll keep the multi-channel going with just a disclaimer, letting people know like what's going on, and to like, basically click the link in the description below to, get over to the mainstream, and then we'll just run it from there once the game goes live.
Yeah,
so
I'm not
this
worried
way,
about a million people watching. I'm worried about the people that are actually participating watching anyway.
Yeah, well, aside from that, I don't want, like channels to get shut down just because they want to participate. Like, at the end of the day, these people are doing me favors by joining. No one's getting compensated for this stuff. You know what I mean? It's just, we're just trying to support, one of the products we believe in. So, I just don't want to put anyone in a situation where they end up losing their channel. Just trying to.
Yeah, we should have just done it on the low last second, but we didn't know people were going to be assholes about it.
And the sad part is, and I'll say this last before we run the promo, because like I said, we're still going to run it anyway. But once I saw the names in this group, I know on the channels they hang out at, right? So I started pretty much yesterday. That's why I was a little quiet yesterday. I started, and if anyone, who's paying attention, you notice like I started popping up in some of these random streams. And like at the very end, just like making 1 or 2 comments. And it was basically because I was basically like following these people around. And yeah, without any motive, they were quick to just talk shit about GymRat. It was like whatever stream they were on had nothing to do with you.
Oh yeah, everyone's talking crap about the rap.
Nothing to do with you, and it's like they're bringing you up in the chat and talking shit, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like,
it's because I'm right, bro.
No, it's not even about being right. It's just sad that like as a community, like we just can't agree to fucking disagree. Like,
well, you can't if you're actually happy and you're actually motivated and you're actually motivated for the right reasons. People don't like that because generally they're half depressed, don't have what they want in life. And I have everything I want in life, and it bothers people. And when I say that, I mean I have everything I want personally. Like, but most people have a lot more than me, but they don't have what they want, and they want to know how. How do you smile every day? Why are you okay? Why are you not crying every day? It's because I enjoy the shit, and I don't care about a bunch of dorks telling me what to do because they bought an asset and now have a bunch of money. They ain't never told someone what to do in their entire life. So I don't care. I do not care. I never have cared. And people can put the care in my words is all they want. But at the end of the day, I have a job to do now, and I'm just going to do it. And the rest of my day, I do whatever I want.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's just like, I just want everyone to be chill. I want everyone to be chill and happy. I'm happy. I'm good. I don't have $1 million. I don't have, but it's fine. It's chill. Everyone's chill. I don't want people to like mass serious. I don't care if my channel gets blocked really as much as the other guys, because I dragged their asses into this shit. Kind of. I didn't, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So you see, so I want to try to avoid that as much as possible. And it's just crazy because like I was hanging out in some of these chats, in some of these streams, and like, some of these streamers talk about, a lot of the same coins we do. And it's just funny how like we get all this hate and they get nothing but support. And it's just like, all right, I see the hypocrisy, but it's fine. It is what it is.
Catching up on the stream. Sam's incorrect about AMM bot with the Scavenge V3 liquidity. I was kind of curious about that too. And I would like to have Molly, Wendy's,
invite them over.
One of the two or either. If you guys are free, I would love to have you guys on stream. You guys are very open-minded. Him and Wendy's, out of all the people, like the bear market shows people's true colors, and him and Wendy's they're here for the right reasons. Yes, they have a lot of money. They're here for the right reasons. I'm not saying they're perfect. No one's perfect, but like they're looking for truth, and they're trying to give people real information, and they're not trying to scare everyone, which I don't like the scare part. Like, I hate when people scare motherfuckers. Like, there's nothing to be scared of. Chill.
Yeah.
But Motley Wendy's, please come on the stream. You guys have been awesome every day forever. Doing good.
So real quick, so for tonight's stream, just to so people are prepared for anyone who wants to participate. I would recommend you don't show camera. Have a throwaway wallet ready, because I have to you have to receive these funds to play with us on stream, as So just have a burner wallet ready. Make sure your RPC settings are connected to Binance Smart Chain. If you want to participate on the stream and join and play along. So pretty much have that ready if you plan on participating before you even click on the link and join, because we're going to be basically dropping the links to join the stream and come into the green room, and we'll bring you up and we'll play together and stuff like that. So so my recommendation is be prepared, have a throwaway wallet that you can play with, and if anyone needs a refresher on what we're doing, here it goes. Yeah, so to not give anyone ammo ahead of time, just tune in 7 o'clock. It's going to be multi-streaming on multiple channels. GymRat, mine, Sam, Black Hexagon, and a few others, DeFi Proof. We're going to be multi-streaming, especially for the panel part. And in those streams, you'll find the link for the Odyssey. I don't want to give them a head start and know what that link is.
And I want to highlight a couple of things on the technical side real quick, just to, uncomfortable truths are my number one thing that I like to talk about. So the truth is, I'm going to say some truths real quick. This is the BNBP chart. Do I think you should spend all your money on BNBP? Absolutely not. And do I really think you should spend any money on anything? No, just chill. But if you want to learn, this came out 2 weeks ago at $5. I bought like the local top, actually, like the local mini top right here. But then I just put my computer away. And then you watch it go to $27. But let's look at the nuts and bolts first, guys. So, because everyone will say, oh, why is it $27? It doesn't make sense. And then we go over here. We type in BNBP. We see, guys, in Hex on V3W, on the V3 ETH pair on Ethereum, the regular Ethereum, there's $1 million in liquidity. In this, there's 600,000. So BNBP's been out for 2 weeks, and it has $600,000 of real liquidity sitting in there. Okay. Does that make sense to guys? That means you can pull out 600 fucking grand. Jacob could dump this thing. Anyone could dump this thing that has a good amount of it. But why? The tokenomics are so in favor of the price go up with the launch of the games in the decentralized manner. Like, yes, there will be corrections on this chart for sure at some point. I couldn't tell you when it was. I don't know if it's going to be at 35, 40 or now or whatever. But like, there's a lot of liquidity. There's 65% of this baby is staked for the most part, if not more at this point. And I've made
66%, over 66%.
I've made a fuckload of money on this in a bear market. But what happens when you make an F load of money on something on a bear market? You gain leverage.
67.41.
Hell yes. You gain leverage on the entire market. So I take 10% of my gains from this and I move them out and I keep the rest here forever. Because I already did, 500% on it with a big chunk. So it's like you just want to move properly, but you don't want to lose. Like, I don't know. This might come down to here. This might go up to wherever. I don't know. But I already have made like 10 times my profit on this shit. So I'm not messing with it anymore.
Yeah. And also, like, keep in mind, for anyone who sacrificed, this was essentially a free airdrop.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And whenever I bring this up with BNBP and PulseChain, all the hex
And he's in the chat. Shout out to PulsePot. Shout out to Jacob.
PulsePot is the GOAT. Jacob is the GOAT. I don't care what anyone says. I don't call people. I don't say that about many people. Alex from Hedron, Richard, Jack. There's some guys out there that are real good at some of the stuff that they do. And I'll tell you what, Jacob's one of them. And I could smell that on him from the minute I started talking to him on stream a couple weeks back, a month back, whenever we had him on, or 2 months back even, for the first time. This is legit. We're talking about $531,000 in liquidity. Now let's go over to the.
Let me answer this real quick. So if you sacrifice for a pulse spot, essentially the same wallet you sacrifice from, just switch over to Binance Smart Chain, and your coins will be there. You just gotta add the contract address for BNBP. You can also do it from the website, and you'll see your coins there.
And guys, Hex. So we're gonna type in Hex, and we're gonna look at the liquidity, right? Because we're gonna be transparent. Now we have 2.4 million. This is the USDC. Again, Hex has a lot of different pairs, but I wanted to bring up the ETH one in particular. Just to show people, like, there is stuff out there, man. Like, there is stuff out there that has good product market fit. And like this WETH pair, 517,000, about $1 million in here, 500K on both sides. And that's not that much. And that also shows me that I'm really bullish on Hex, frankly. I'm pretty bullish on Hex because of that. Like, it's low liquidity enough where it can pump like mad still. And I always forget it. But it's still not like super, super low liquidity. So I think those are important points to bring out, because if we zoom out here, sorry about that. If we zoom out here, 20 cents, you think that was what the top we were dealing with? Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. We were dealing with, I got to go to the day candle. It's been a while. Come on, daddy. All right. Hex is a really good coin, but it also is real life. So in the beginning of Hex, the lion's share of the gains were made. Okay. This shows the day candles. So like, these are all those guys that love Hex so much and made so much money. They're all right here. You know what I'm saying? And everyone else is down here. And once we get washed out enough, we'll just be light enough to go Super Saiyan again. And that's just about how that goes. You know, like, this thing is going to go really high again. And that's just is what it is. It's immutable code. It's trustless. It's low liquidity, and it's ready to pop. So I don't know how long it's going to be. But again, I also want to highlight the truth about Hex. Like, this is the truth. This is the truth. Right there, right in front of your face. But we love Hex. Why? Immutable, trustless, earn yield. You have to like it for the right reasons to understand why you like it. I think I bought like here. I bought like 2 cents. So I was like, right. I don't know where the fuck I was. I can't remember. I don't look at the 1 day chart often. I was day 501. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see. But I love Hex, and I think it's awesome. And I think it's light enough, frankly, to pump still. Is what I look for, is the lightness of it. And it still is light enough. So, but just to show BNBP, like, my entire crypto experience forever is changed because of BNBP, because of the leverage that it gave me on the market at such a low rate. You know what I mean, Bullish?
Yes, sir.
So now that I, made $6,000 off of nothing and have my whole stack still, or $2,000 or $3,000 off of nothing, and then you got your whole stack still, and then you go back into the assets that you really care about. Guys, this is how Hex gets better. This is how more people get into it. Stop stopping people from getting involved, please.
So I pulled this up. Shout out to Par Hexcellence sending this to me. So we were talking earlier about whether the AMM bot was gonna also work for V3. So yeah, he tweeted about it a while ago. So yeah, so just to update what we said before. So yeah, V3, the AMM bot will be working for V3.
Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. I'm excited for PulseChain. I'm excited for everything, guys. You don't have to be negative about everything. You can gain in a bear market so easily. If you watch this show, literally you bought Hedron at the bottom, you got involved in BNBP, and you learned how to stake all your stuff properly on 3 chains and provide liquidity between free yield on 3 chains and get involved on the speculative low assets on those other chains that really can't go down very much because of the liquidity. So again, we're crushing it, and it's been amazing. I can't even believe it, frankly. I really can't. Sometimes I'm like, middle of the day, I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy. Like, how am I getting involved in all this stuff? And it's actually free, and it's actually working. I'm doing sometimes I'll do 100 transactions for $2.
Yep,
that's incredible.
I don't even think about gas on the forks.
Oh no,
like it's an afterthought. So like, you know, like PulseChain's gonna be the same. It's like, yeah, this shit's gonna fucking crush.
And I know enough about people that if they experience what I've been experiencing on those chains, they will want that. They will want that because that's the best.
You get BNBP if you sacked for PulsePot, not for PLS or PLSX. If you sacrifice for PulsePot, you have an airdrop waiting for you in the form of BNBP.
Let's go.
Yeah, I think we can end it here. So and then you can start your show. And how long are you gonna be live? 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock. Yeah, I think so. 1 o'clock, maybe 1:30, but probably 1 o'clock. Yeah, I'll be back then, guys. I'll talk to you then. We got BNBP tonight. Stay tuned. I've been staying off of Twitter because everyone's just shit talking me. So like, I just turn it off. I don't really care. And I'll hop on there if there's something going on. Lots of good stuff going on, guys, in crypto. If you want to keep up every single day, this is probably the most detailed channel you'll get. I don't know how long you'll get me to be talking like this because people get really pissed. But I'm going to just keep being honest for a little while. As much as I can be honest, you know, because I think it's important to have some of this in the space. Most people in the space, truthfully, are flimsy and broken and will sell their soul for 500 grand. For real. For real. Most of the guys, if you gave them 500 grand and told them to fucking suck your wanker, sorry, kids, they would do it. And they wouldn't stand for nothing. They wouldn't die for nothing. All right. Some men would look other people in the face. They wouldn't die for shit. That girl was getting, they wouldn't. So we got to step up. We got to step up. Step up time. It's your boy GRCs. Let's get out of here.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hex and I'm making a stake. Got me some heads on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. GymRatCrypto sent me to show you the way.